Lots of brain, not an ops, no, they ain't missing the name.
And police say they heard a barrage of shots just after noon. They were coming from across the street at a funeral for a local musician known as Dooski the Man.
Before we start the series, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I appreciate all your support, it means a lot. I create this series not to cite any type of violence. The main purpose of this series is for education purpose and to raise awareness. All the information in the series is based on intensive research I have done from the rumors taken from the internet or street. I'm not saying the information is fact. I send my sympathy and my condolences to all the fallen. Rest in peace to all the fallen soldiers in Chicago and across America.
On the news, we getting fame, nigga, we should shoot. Hey, I'm tight, run the shoes. You tight, run my shoes. I got burn my shoes. If they get caught, just burn out the shooters. Lots of brain, not an ops, no, they ain't missing the name.
This is the story of Dooski the Man's funeral and what exactly happened during his funeral. Dooski the Man, also known as Vantries Chris, was a Chicago gang member affiliated with the mob, which is a faction which stands for Men of Business. He gained recognition in the local drill music scene for tracks like Letter to Scrap and his remix of Who Run It. Tragically, Dooski the Man was fatally shot in October 2018. 059 MOB Mind on Business is a gangster disciple set that stretches from 56th to Michigan Avenue. Some of the most known and most notable members from mob would be Lil Scrap, Dooski the Man, Beans, Killa Ki, and Ruga. 059 MOB would be in alliances with sets such as STL/EBT, Von World, and 051 Young Money, and conversely, they have rivalries with factions like 600, Front Street, O-Block, Nico Gang, and White City. Mob is known to be the Southside Chicago Killers. Their shorties go by the name of 6 Block or Scrap Gang, to honor a fallen member who was shot and killed in 2014. Mob vs. 600 beef started because of a fist fight in a party between Scrap and 600 members, starting a full gang war that is still going on till 2024. Mob and 051 Young Money created Melliway to honor a fallen member. Melly 051 Young Money, highly respected member, who is also known as Melly the Gravedigger, who was shot and killed in 2019. Most conflicts in Chicago often originate from issues involving drugs or women. The Gangster Disciples, founded in Chicago in 1969 by Larry Hoover and David Barksdale, are a predominantly street dudes and prison gang. Over time, the organization has fragmented into various sets, including 059, Mob, each operating within specific neighborhoods and often engaging in both alliances and conflicts with other groups. On October 22, 2018, a tragic incident occurred during the funeral of Chicago rapper Vantries Chris, known as Dooski the Man. The service was held at Bethlehem Star Missionary Baptist Church in the Burnside neighborhood in Chicago's South Side. As attendees were leaving the church around 12:30 p.m., gunfire erupted, resulting in 6 people being shot. Among the victims was Marvel Williams, known as FBG Wooski, a fellow rapper and member of the Fly Boy Gang, FBG. He sustained a gunshot wound to the head and was transported to the University of Chicago Medical Center in critical condition. Despite the severity of his injury, reports indicated that he was able to communicate with authorities while receiving treatment. The other victims included 4 men and 1 woman, aged between 18 and 27, all of whom were hospitalized in stable condition. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic, with approximately 40 to 50 gunshots fired, causing mourners to seek cover under cars and flee for safety. Authorities suggested that the shooting might have been a retaliatory act linked to gang conflicts. Following the incident, police took measures to prevent further violence, anticipating possible reprisals. Despite the life-threatening injury, FBG Wooski survived the shooting. His recovery was closely followed by fans and the media, highlighting the ongoing issues of gun violence and gang-related activities in Chicago. The events surrounding Dooski the man's funeral and the shooting of FBG Wooski highlight the tragic consequences of gang-related violence in Chicago. Here's a detailed breakdown of what happened. As I always do, it will always be important for me to start with background story. Dooski the Man, real name Vantrese Chris, was a Chicago rapper associated with the gang culture that heavily influences the city's music scene. He was fatally shot earlier in 2018. His funeral was held on October 22, 2018, at the Bethlehem Star Missionary Baptist Church in the Burnside neighborhood on the south side of Chicago.
We've learned a little bit more about the victims this afternoon. There were a total of 6 people who were shot outside the church. It was a pandemonium, a scene of pandemonium right after that happened. Many of those people who were shot were leaving a funeral inside the church. 6 of them injured, 4 of them were taken by paramedics to hospitals. 2 of them drove themselves. None of their injuries considered life-threatening at this point. Fortunately, no one inside the daycare was injured.
And we just try to comfort them. I mean, I don't know what else to tell them. We don't know what else to tell them. We just hug them and just tell them it's going to be all right.
Sherry Savage says there is so much gunfire in her neighborhood, the kids at her daycare, 2 to 6 years old, already know to duck when they hear shots. And police say they heard a barrage of shots just after noon. They were coming from across the street at a funeral for a local musician known as Dooski the Man was letting out. His real name is Vantrese Chris. He was killed by gunfire earlier this month. Witnesses today heard a couple of shots at first, apparently fired into the crowd. Then many more, several dozen more shots. Investigators have placed markers indicating where shell casings are located, but so far they have no one in custody.
After the incident happened, I do understand that when the police arrived, it was a very chaotic scene, crime scene extending 2 blocks with shell casings, multiple people shot.
Police say they have not yet determined a motive for this shooting or even whether anyone in specific was targeted. They have just reopened Cottage Grove to traffic as they're wrapping up their investigation here.
The funeral shooting. As the funeral service concluded around 12:30 p.m., mourners began exiting the church. Suddenly, gunfire erupted with over 40 to 50 shots fired in rapid succession. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic, with attendees running for cover and hiding under cars. The victims: FBG Wooski, Marvel Williams, a prominent member of the Fly Boy Gang, FBG, and affiliate of Dooski, was one of the most notable victims. Injury. He was shot in the head and was rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center in critical condition. Remarkably, Wooski survived and was able to communicate with authorities despite the severity of his injury. His recovery was slow, and the shooting left a lasting impact on his health and career. Others injured. 4 men and 1 woman, aged between 18 and 27, were also injured. They were hospitalized in stable condition, but the incident left the community in shock. The plan to shoot up Dooski's funeral was not about sending a message to STL/EBT. Entire plan was to kill Wooski O'Block members had been lurking for a while to kill Wooski, but could never catch him lacking on the block. This was the only chance they had to get rid of him. Shooting up Dooski's funeral was planned days ahead, before it all went down. Edog, O'Block, posted tweets saying things like, "Get back gang, gonna get rid of him, and I got something for heck." Also Edog, and King Von was on FaceTime with Wooski a few days before it all went down saying, "We going to surprise you, bro." One thing to be clear, Wooski was a big problem for O'Block. It is rumored that he has taken 3 members from WIC City/O'Block. He literally used to come through shooting up O'Block once or twice every week. He was always on go and was steady plotting and lurking for ops. Many sets were present at the funeral. 051 Young Money, Jero City, and Taekwon World were all present. All members present at the funeral were armed. No one really believed that something would happen, but everyone was prepared in case something would happen. Now it was time. Both DQ and Muwop jumped out of a car, with Gleesh and Edog waiting in the cut. They jumped out and started shooting at the crowd outside the funeral. Members like Lil Ant and Lil Bobo were the first to shoot back. It was now bullets flying wild back and forth, and the bullets had no name. The whole operation was close to failing. Muwop went back to the car. Wooski started shooting, and now it was DQ and Wooski who shot at each other back and forth. Wooski caught a bullet to the head. When DQ saw Wooski falling to the ground, he immediately ran and fled through the nearby street and caught up with the rest of the guys in the car. Helicopters were quickly up in the air, as well as police cars everywhere on the streets. SWAT cars also came quickly to the crime scene, probably due to the use of heavy weapons. 6 people in total was shot at the funeral. Luckily, all of them survived. It was hot outside on the streets the next few days. O'Block was shot up multiple times the day after, and many STL/EBT members were lurking to get back. O'Block had now got Wooski out of the way. Even if he survived, he will not be the same as he was before. He probably won't slide or lurk anymore. STL/EBT is still lurking for a get back, both for what happened at the funeral, but most for Can't Get Right, who was killed in 2018. Jado wasn't STL/EBT's work, that was Taekwon World. O'Block, on the other hand, have their full focus on protecting King Von at all costs. He is their top killer, the one with the bread, and the leader of O'Block together with Boss Top. King Von have a big bag on his head set out by Ruga and Duck. The long version of Dooski's funeral story refers to a viral narrative that gained popularity on social media, particularly among Chicago drill rap fans, surrounding the alleged events that occurred at the funeral of Chicago rapper Dooski the Man, also known as Dooski. The story is filled with dramatic, exaggerated, and often darkly humorous details about an alleged violent altercation during the funeral. Dooski the Man was a Chicago rapper associated with the drill music scene and a member of STL/EBT, a faction connected to the Gangster Disciples. He tragically lost his life due to gun violence in 2018. Following his death, the story of his funeral circulated widely due to an alleged shootout that occurred during the services. This story describes the events surrounding Dooski's funeral, including dramatic interactions between rival gang members and intense violence. The narrative typically includes the following elements. The day of the funeral services. The services were attended by Dooski's family, friends, and fellow gang members. Due to the volatile nature of Chicago's gang scene, the atmosphere at the funeral was tense, with attendees reportedly on high alert for potential violence. Then, the arrival of ops, rival gang members. According to the narrative, rival gang members allegedly arrived at the funeral with the intention of antagonizing Dooski's supporters. This move was seen as an ultimate sign of disrespect, fueling tension among the mourners. Then the shootout started. The story escalates when violence erupts, allegedly starting with a drive-by shooting targeting those attending the funeral. Accounts describe chaos breaking out, with people running for cover as shots were fired outside the funeral home. There was shots exchange. Retaliation supporters of Dooski allegedly returned fire, resulting in a full-blown shootout near or at the funeral site. Reports describe scenes of chaos as mourners fled or sought safety during the gunfire. Social media's role. The aftermath of the funeral was widely discussed on social media, with individuals sharing their own accounts, speculations, and memes about the incident. The story became part of the larger lore of Chicago's drill music scene, which often blurs the lines between real-life events and urban legend. Motive and aftermath. Gang retaliation. The shooting was believed to be gang-related, part of an ongoing feud between rival factions in Chicago. Dooski was reportedly affiliated with a particular gang, and his death was seen as part of a cycle of retaliatory violence. Police speculated that the attackers targeted the funeral as a high-profile event, knowing many affiliated individuals would attend. To prevent further violence, law enforcement increased patrols in the area and closely monitored potential gang activity. The events surrounding Dooski the man's funeral and the shooting of FBG Wooski highlight the tragic consequences of gang-related violence in Chicago. Here's a detailed breakdown of what happened. Background. Dooski the man, real name Vantrease Chris, was a Chicago rapper associated with the gang culture that heavily influences the city's music scene. He was fatally shot earlier in 2018. His funeral was held on October 22, 2018, at the Bethlehem Star Missionary Baptist Church in the Burnside neighborhood on the south side of Chicago. The funeral shooting. As the funeral service concluded around 12:30 p.m., mourners began exiting the church. Suddenly, gunfire erupted with over 40 to 50 shots fired in rapid succession. Witnesses described the scene as chaotic, with attendees running for cover and hiding under cars. The victims. 1. FBG Wooski Marvel Williams, a prominent member of the Flyboy Gang, FBG, and affiliate of Dooski, was one of the most notable victims. Injury. He was shot in the head and was rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center in critical condition. Remarkably, Wooski survived and was able to communicate with authorities despite the severity of his injury. His recovery was slow, and the shooting left a lasting impact on his health and career. 2. Others injured. 4 men and 1 woman, aged between 18 and 27, were also injured. They were hospitalized in stable condition, but the incident left the community in shock. Motive and aftermath. Gang retaliation. The shooting was believed to be gang-related, part of an ongoing feud between rival factions in Chicago. Dooski was reportedly affiliated with a particular gang, and his death was seen as part of a cycle of retaliatory violence. Police speculated that the attackers targeted the funeral as a high-profile event, knowing many affiliated individuals would attend. To prevent further violence, law enforcement increased patrols in the area and closely monitored potential gang activity. FBG Wooski's recovery. Wooski's survival was seen as miraculous given the seriousness of his injuries. However, his health and ability to perform music were affected. His recovery became a point of interest in Chicago's rap scene, with fans and media closely following updates. Wooski continued to release music, but his career and public appearances were notably different post-injury. Significance of the story. The story of Dooski's funeral is emblematic of the cycle of violence and retaliation often depicted in Chicago's drill rap culture. It highlights the intensity of gang rivalries, where even funerals, a time meant for mourning, can become sites of conflict and violence. It's important to note that many details of the story may be exaggerated or distorted through social media retellings, as these narratives often take on a life of their own in online communities. The story's viral nature underscores how real-life tragedies are often sensationalized in digital spaces, contributing to the mythology of the drill rap scene. Significance. This tragic event underscored the pervasive gun violence in Chicago, particularly tied to gang disputes that often spill into public events, even funerals. It also brought attention to the struggles faced by young artists like Dooski and Wooski, who are often caught between their music careers and the harsh realities of their environments. Here is the quick summary of Dooski's funeral. Vantries are Chris, known as Dooski the Man, was a Chicago rapper affiliated with the Fly Boy Gang, FBG, a group associated with the Gangster Disciple Street Gang. He was fatally shot on October 9, 2018, in the Washington Park neighborhood of Chicago. On October 22, 2018, during his funeral service at Bethlehem Star Missionary Baptist Church in the Burnside neighborhood, a shooting occurred as attendees were leaving the service. 6 individuals were injured, including fellow FBG rapper marvel FBG Wooski Williams, who suffered a gunshot wound to the head. The Fly Boy Gang is linked to the Gangster Disciples, a prominent street gang in Chicago. The shooting at Dooski the Man's funeral is believed to be part of ongoing conflicts between rival gangs in the area. Authorities have expressed concerns about potential retaliatory violence following such incidents and have taken measures to prevent further escalation. Dooski the Man's music continues to resonate with fans, reflecting the challenges and experiences of Chicago streets. Notable songs include Letter to Scrap, which has garnered significant views on YouTube. For those interested in exploring his work, his tracks are available on platforms like YouTube and SoundCloud. Collaborations with artists such as Wooski on songs like Do It Gang further showcase his contributions to the drill music genre. Despite his untimely death, Dooski the Man's influence persists in Chicago's music scene, with his songs continuing to be celebrated by fans and fellow artists alike. His music continues to resonate with fans, reflecting the challenges and experiences of Chicago's streets. Notable songs include Letter to Scrap, which has garnered significant views on YouTube. Cultural impact. Members like Dooski the Man have contributed to Chicago's drill music scene, intertwining gang affiliations with musical expression. This fusion has amplified the group's notoriety and influence within both the local community and the broader hip-hop culture. Legal actions. The Gangster Disciples have faced extensive law enforcement scrutiny. In 1995, founder Larry Hoover was convicted on charges including conspiracy and extortion, leading to multiple life sentences. Despite such efforts, the organization persists, adapting to changing dynamics within urban environments. Community impact. The activities of 059 Mob and similar factions have significantly affected Chicago communities, contributing to cycles of violence and retaliation. Incidents like the shooting at Dooski the Man's funeral underscore the ongoing challenges these neighborhoods face concerning gang-related violence. Understanding the intricate relationships and histories of groups like 059 Mob is crucial for comprehending the broader landscape of gang dynamics in urban America. But before we finish the video, I would like to say most of these kids were good kids. But due to bad upbringings, bad decisions just like some kids do, the influence of gang violence led them lose their lives and leave big scars and pains in their parents' hearts. Poverty and surroundings, so they became products of their environment. Rest in peace to all the fallen on both sides. My condolences to all parents who lost the fallen soldiers in the trenches of Chicago and across America. God bless Chicago. God Bless America, there have been many incidents where members of single family get killed or get wiped out due to gang violence. Examples: T. Roy, whose real name is James Johnson, and his two brothers, one older and one younger slutty in HK and Parkway Garden aka O Block. Other members are FBG Duck and his older brothers like FBG Brick and his cousin. Shoulda Shells lost all his brother King Scooby Soldier to the street. Shoulda Shells, whose name is Cedrin Doles, lost his mom at age of 12 and his father at 14 or vice versa. Ended up being raised by Black Mob Gang over East Chicago Maniac Stone, Hood on 74th/75th and Phillips. Similar to KTS Vaughn, KTS Dre, and their father Big Vinny aka the Don himself, lost their lives to the street. Father and his two children lost their lives on a gruesome way. It seems like there is no winner in the street. Lil Durk decided to become Muslim now. Rapper Richway Tilla preaching peace on Westside Chicago too after losing his beloved daughter Pink Adam at McDonald Drive by FYBJ Main preach peace now too. But it's strange though because the ops still hunting them. Beside them declare in public they don't want no blicky smoke no more. Snitching is the worst thing you could do. Subscribe to the channel, share, like the video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.
According to the research conducted, most of the killing and gangs violence had not been solved and hardly to be solved due to no snitch code of conduct, passing, or telling police about streets informations of either any gang, your gang or ops who shot you or kill either side in the battlefield in exchange of street gang wars is considered to be snitching, weak, non-respected. Most of members of families and friends lost the loved ones and hesitant to come forward to drop the names of opposition due to snitch code of conduct. There is a say on street state that snitch has to be stitched, means if you inform the police means you're a snitch, and they will find a means to get to you, and if they cannot get to you, they will go for your very close loved ones or member of your family intentionally just to hurt you. Sometimes I can understand what most of these youngsters going through imagine go to school to enemy gang territories, growing up and became the products of the environments. Kids who grow up in gang-dominated neighborhoods join gang or die. Or get pushed around by members or get messed with by enemies of your neighborhood gangs. Regardless, just because you live where you live, most don't choose this life, so again hard to judge the young men for doing what they must to survive. Sometimes it really is kill or be killed. And honestly it reminds me more of war, actual combat, and honestly if treated as such would be much better approach. Because these kids don't have choices, and most of them die very young. However, some make bold decision and leave New Orleans, Louisiana, a good example of rappers Lil Wayne, Birdman, Master P, Silk the Shocker and J Electronica, and many more. These are some of No Limit, whose brothers see murdered doing life behind bar due to murder case. Master P, whose real name is Percy Robert Miller, had felt betrayed by his son Lil Romeo, going to social medias call his daddy out, that he is broke and can't even provide basic need, and call him useless for leaving his brother C Murda suffering in jail. Many of rappers from Calio Project and Magnolia Project lost their lives. Example: Magnolia Shorty, Soulja J.A. Slim, for the name of representing their projects. Where they from? This also remind me a lot of streets legends in Chicago and New Orleans who had long-lasting quarrels and feud. Example: Cutthroat KTS Vaughn, KTS Dre, Hell Rel Alliance with Shoulda Shells of Black Mob versus G Herbo of NLMB, No Limit of Jacoby Squad. So many people ended up dying in the prolonged feud. Shoulda Shells aka Mr. Death of 150 was well known Shoulda out of Eastside Chicago 74th and Phillips, and his reaction were due to loss of his brother and friends of his beef while he was in jail, due to illegal gun possessions, and ended up die young at the age of 21. His main op G Herbo ended up leave the city of Chicago immediately right after Shoulda Shells' death. While in Southside Chicago there were ruthless war in Chicago history between 051 Young Money with Ruthless. However, some returned back to the city. Hood were they coming from, because is where they grew up, is where majority of their family member reside. This series of documentary film research, like I stated before, is to raise awareness, to save lives, and not to promote violence. It's all for the educative purpose so the societies can understand the danger of violence. Most of these victims, steppers, and shouldas are young, handsome, powerful, intelligent, and young. They could be entertainers, mathematicians, basketball players, lawyers, players, actors, landowners, books writers, billionaires, successful rappers, leaders, doctors, preachers, scientists, farmers, financial managers, bank owners, spirituality practitioners, nurses, historians, go to military, Navy, software engineers, or go to the space, or become next Malcolm X, Martin Luther, or Harriet Tubman. Then free all steppers who've been held in prisons unlawfully and let them be free. But it's so sad that most these young men's dreams cut very short while they are very young. Most of them die or go to jail below 25 years of age, most with or with no children. Most of the drill rappers in Chicago had lost their lives in between 14 to 25. It's very rare for Chicago rappers who represent the gang going war with their ops to get to 35 years. It's unlikely to happen. Most of them, they either get killed or going to jail. It's sad that many lost their lives, and some went and spent many years in jail. A good example is VG, Terrence Gangsta Williams of Original Ho Boys Click and Nola, D Rose, Rando number 9, from 600 Chicago, aka Chirac. Before we go ahead and finish, please go ahead, subscribe, share, and like the video, so we can continue to raise awareness and save lives. It's very, very important to subscribe, and I honest deeply with all my heart truly appreciate all your supports. It means a lot.
From was all going to this school. I was getting into it with them and we fighting them. So as we got older, the shit escalated. Her stayed on our shit. Like he'll tell you, he stayed on 74th and Kingston. You feel me? But he wasn't really on that shit. You feel me? Even if he was on that, and make it seem like it was that when they sentenced. You feel me? Then he started going to Hyde Park or whatever. You feel me? We was going to CVS and South Shore. You feel me? But a lot of them, they kind of deep. So they was going to South Shore too. They was going to CVS too. But ain't none of us go to Hyde Park. We was always in South Shore or whatever. So it was a shock to me when he even said my name in a little song and shit. Cause I'm like, he was see you all the time. I kind of feel like he was clout chasing. To me, like when he did like that shit was super duper old. You feel me? This was like 2020 before he really got hot. You feel me? So I mentioned my name, showing me like, damn, you heard that shit? Look, heard me. He said your name in a little song. Whatever. So I look at the song. He said the little black mob. Shoot, we name change and shit. So I took it though.
I keep a little shooter with me, not to mention still got a little shooter in me. Yeah, where I go, even when I'm gonna go to the black hole, the river with me, on me, 18. Last out with the text, and respect me. Never had bulletproof vests.
Ball like I'm Kobe on the way, man. Ball like I'm Kobe. Well, you're from Chicago. Why Kobe and not Jordan?
Why Kobe?
Yeah. Ball Like I'm Kobe is special to me because I named it after my homie Jacoby who got killed.
So tell Rocco me and Fazo, you gon' see him dead. You niggas fool you will honor what you said, nigga. Cause you ain't ballin' like you Kobe till you dead, nigga. With these 2 pistols, I ain't shooting at your legs, nigga. 2 new extensions, I'm on the mission to Smith and forget the witness. Ask Kobe who went crazy with them blocks, nigga. Play that bus stop and you gon' get shot, nigga. What?
How you don't know Shooter Shields? He made Lil' Cole famous. How you don't know Shooter Shields? He made C-Mo famous. How you don't know Shooter Shields? Pistol yo gang gangin'. How you don't know Shooter Shields? Lil' Pac got
even New Orleans, bro. The Carrier and the Magnolia, them little dudes was together. He was the fly guy, the male too. They all was together. Yeah. So when they fell out, I couldn't jump in no nigga business from number 1. And from number 2, That hurt in my heart. When I was hearing this one was getting killed, now was getting killed because I knew all them little dudes, bro. And